It'll cure that slump or send you to a mental hospital. This was like a hot mess in a dumpster fire inside a train wreck. Then there was a plane that came in, bam, right into the train. Now everything's on fire. It is like God tier, one of my favorite books of all time. This book had me glued. I could not turn the pages quick enough. You are thrown into the ocean, not the kiddie pool. Like, hello book besties. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Kiara and I am so excited to have you here. Now, today's video I hope will be very helpful for you. Today I am giving you 10 book recommendations to cure your reading slump. We have all been there. I hate being in a reading slump. It's like the worst fate. I would literally rather be extremely ill. Let me not say extreme. Actually, let's rewind that back. Never mind. I would rather be, within reason, mildly ill than be in a reading slump. If that joke didn't hit, I'm cutting it out. Anyways, moving on. So we have all been there. You just finished a 6-star read, you just finished a God tier series, or you've been reading the same meh for like 3 weeks straight, and now you're in a slump. I have these at least once every 3 months, I swear. So in today's video, I'm giving you 10 great recommendations to get you out of a slump, specifically thriller recommendations. To be honest, if you're a mood reader, or if you're somebody who's okay with switching genres, I would really recommend switching to thrillers because they are fast-paced, they don't always use a ton of brain power to follow along, and they are super entertaining. They're also very simple in setting because we're on this planet where nothing is going on. You don't have to learn a magic system or learn new world building or any scientific terms. So I'm going to give you 10 of my best recommendations to help you cure that slump today. Starting off strong, we are going into my favorite trope ever, the unhinged woman trope, the liar slash psycho slash absolute baddie trope. That's where we're going to start with our first recommendation. Let me just grab it real quick. Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. This is a book about a woman that we follow. She runs into this dad and daughter in the park and lies to them about being a nurse. This lie helps her land a job in their home to be their nanny. She's not a nurse, so it goes crazy. It doesn't stop there. She is quickly realizing that this family also has some secrets of their own, and maybe she's bitten off more than she can chew. Now, the reason why I recommend this to get out of your reading slump is because we jump off right away. There is no like leading up, there's no slow start. You're diving into the story head first. I think like within the first chapter, she's already lying. Like homegirl is already telling fibs from page 1. Let me just double check that because I don't want to lie to you. Yeah, like literally first words, first sentence, I will read it to you. I'm a nurse. The words fall out of my mouth before I can stop myself from saying them, loud and clanging like a pair of tin cans tied to a back bumper. Okay, like this is going to cure your reading slump. It is so fast-paced. It is so insane. Just like the amount of lies that she tells to stack and stack and stack and stack. I really do recommend this one, and it's very short too. So, and it's not like a crazy scary thriller. Like sometimes thrillers can be a little too intense, and I don't think that is this. If you are a beginner to the thriller genre and you just want something to cure that slump, Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. Pick it up. Now, sticking with domestic thrillers, unhinged women, and my absolute favorite trope ever in the thriller genre, I'm going to give you another unhinged woman. Meet The Perfect Marriage by Jeneva Rose. This book, I mean, it's one of my favorites, and it will cure that reading slump, girl. Let me tell you what it is about. So in this book, we follow this lawyer and her husband. The husband has a mistress. Now, I'm not going to spoil you with what I'm about to say next. It is part of the story. His mistress dies. And not only that, but now he is the main suspect in her murder trial. Yep. And our main female character, his wife, is his only hope if he ever hopes to prove his innocence. And she agrees to do it. She agrees to be his lawyer and represent him. If you read this and you're still in a slump after that, I don't know what to tell you, because this book was so stressful. It is so good. This book does have a sequel. I have not read the sequel. I've only read the first book, The Perfect Marriage. I've heard good things about the second one, but just read the first one. It is so good. Now, the other reason why I think this book will get you out of that reading slump is because we start right away. From page 1, she, like, the mistress is already dead. So it's really good. It pops off completely. You are thrown in head first. You are thrown into the ocean, not the kiddie pool. And I think that honestly is the cure to your slump. Like, books with a slow start, don't get me wrong, I love the anticipation, I love the buildup, but when I'm in a slump, we just need to get down to business. We need to be guns a-blazing. I need your craziest thoughts. Let's go. That's what you need when you're in a slump, and The Perfect Marriage is exactly that. Definitely recommend. Oh, and most of these are 5 stars, just so you know. The next book on our list, I actually do not have a physical copy of, so I'm so sorry. I will include a picture on the screen of this book. It is the one by John Mars. This is the only John Mars book I have ever read, but this one, it just, like, he starts off with a bang. Let me tell you what it's about. So the one by John Mars is about this DNA test that becomes available to the public, and if you take this DNA test, it will tell you who your ultimate soulmate is. The crazy thing here is that there are no boundaries to this test. So you could be placed with anyone, your ultimate perfect match. So it does not care about gender, doesn't really filter in age or anything like that. So that is what is so crazy about this book. And we follow 5 couples who think that they found their happily ever after, but are quickly realizing that this is turning into a living nightmare. It is, again, so good. Another 5-star read, and one that will cure your slump. This book had me glued. I could not turn the pages quick enough to finish the one by John Mars. And the other thing that's really interesting too about this book is it is kind of genre bending. It's like a mixture between sci-fi and thriller, and it reminds me a lot of the show Black Mirror. So if you're into that kind of show, you might love this book. And I love that we're thrown into the story immediately from page 1. And this one might be good if you already like sci-fi, because it's at least related, but still a thriller. So definitely recommend the one by John Mars. The next one on our list is The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. Now, I also don't have a physical copy of this one, but what I can tell you is that it is amazing. Now, before we kind of get into this, let me just say, I've said this a couple of times on this channel before, but thrillers that will absolutely freak me out are thrillers about creepy children. There's something about a creepy kid that it turns it into horror for me, and quickly. So that was this for me. Let's go into the synopsis. Basically, we follow these 2 people who are married, and they are desperate to have a child. That is all that they want. And in their desperation, they decide to adopt this little girl who has a lot of trauma and things and layers that they didn't even realize until they're like in the thick of it. So that is where we go with the story. Now, the really interesting part about The Perfect Child is that Lucinda Berry, the author, she is actually a psychologist. And you can tell that she knows what she's talking about in this book, because what I found really interesting, besides the craziness of like what is happening to them, because this book is very fast paced, but I love that we got the POV of the husband and the wife, and the miscommunication in this book is unmatched. I love the dynamic. I love the marital struggles that our 2 main characters go through in this book, and it will definitely cure your slump. It is so fast-paced and something that I could not put down. Also, I did do the audiobook for this one. I did like half audio, half Kindle. I read this on my Kindle, and it was amazing. If you are a Kindle Unlimited user, when I read this, it was on Kindle Unlimited, so hopefully it's still there. I don't really use Kindle Unlimited as much anymore, but that is where I read this, so definitely recommend The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. Staying on topic with the creepy kid trope, we have Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. Now, this book, you guys, this one is a good one. Okay, if you can only pick one, The Perfect Child or Hidden Pictures for your creepy child book pick to cure your reading slump, I'd have to give it to Hidden Pictures. Love Lucinda Berry and love The Perfect Child, but Hidden Pictures is amazing. It is like God tier, one of my favorite books of all time. This book, we follow another babysitter. She takes a job as a summer nanny to this child. Now, everything is good and fine with the child until he starts drawing pictures. At first, the pictures are very innocent and childlike, but then they start depicting a very gruesome scene. And not only that, but with each picture that he draws, the pictures get more realistic and more sinister. I mean, come on now. Now, this book it's a wild ride. It does not stop hitting. This book is so good. The other thing that I really loved about this is the babysitter in this book. She almost starts to feel like she's going crazy. And the whole time, my favorite dynamic was actually between the kid's mom and the babysitter, because it's like that's crazy, right? Like, somebody is accusing your kid of being like a possessed, crazy, creepy child. Like, what do you do with that information? And then of course the babysitter, like, she cannot lose this job because, I mean, I think they say it in this one, but she is fresh out of rehab. She is trying to stay sober, so she cannot lose this job. I loved Hidden Pictures. And the other cool thing about this book too is you actually get the pictures. So I'm just going to show you some of the earlier drawings, so I don't want to spoil anything. I'll just show you some of like the kids' first drawings. So like, I hope you can see that, but yeah, they're like super innocent. I hope that's better. And then I'll show you, I will show you one of the other ones because like it's creepy. So like, I'll show you this one. You know, like they get really intense. Anyways, that is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. Absolutely recommend. This is a 6-star read for me, and it will cure that reading slump. It will get you back to your book binging days in no time. At number 6, we have The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. I also do not have a physical copy of this book, so I will include a picture somewhere on the screen. But The Housemaid is everywhere. It has a movie with Sydney Sweeney in it, so if you've watched the movie already, you're probably okay to skip. But I will say The Housemaid does have a couple books. It's part of a series, so that might interest you. I read the book and watched the movie. I still like the book a little bit better, but I thought the movie did a pretty good job too, so you're probably okay to skip. Anyways, The Housemaid by Freida McFadden is a domestic thriller. It's with another babysitter. Technically, she's the, like, housemaid, but she also takes care of their child in this book. Anyways, so this book is about an ex-con who gets a job as a housemaid for this couple, and again, just like some of the others on this list, it slowly descends into madness. Now, talk about an unhinged woman. The women in this book are truly unhinged, and that is why it's on this list. Just the pace at which things just deteriorate in this book is so good. This book completely like unwinds itself. I definitely recommend. I do think that this is one of Freida's best books. I've read a couple by Freida McFadden, and The Housemaid is still my favorite for sure. It is pretty short too, so it's definitely going to cure that reading slump. Up next is My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. This is a very recent read for me, but the reason why it's on this list is because it is so short. It's one of her shorter ones. I think that this would be great, again, for not only curing that reading slump, but I also really recommend this to beginner thriller readers. Now, Alice Feeney, she has a lot of books. She gets a lot of mixed reviews, but I really loved My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. Now, this is one of her newer releases. In this book, we follow a woman named Eden Fox. She goes on a run one day and comes back only to realize that her key no longer fits in her front door, and this woman opens her door and says that she is the real Eden Fox. But not only that, her husband is playing along with it and saying that this woman is the actual Eden Fox. So it kind of goes from there. The other thing that I liked about Alice Feeney and her books too is I feel like they're very layered. Like there is another plot line going on in this book about this company that can predict your death. So that's really interesting, and there are characters tied to that plot line who also mix with our Eden Fox plotline. So I thought that was really interesting. The other thing I loved about this book too is that every chapter ends on a cliffhanger. So that was obviously great for reading slump purposes. And this book also had some funny one-liners and likable characters too. So I definitely recommend My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney to cure that reading slump. We are almost done, you guys. Sometimes I feel like these longer recommendation videos, they just make my throat feel like the Sahara Desert. Like my voice changes when I do these long talking videos because I am actually more introverted than extroverted. Anyways, that was a side rant. Let's get into the last three. At number 8, we have The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Is very gothic, which I loved. The reason why it's on this list is because it's another one that throws you right into the story. So this is about a woman named Kit who is a home health aide. She takes on a job taking care of Lenora Hope, and Lenora, decades before the events of our book, she is accused of murdering her entire family. But unfortunately, there was not enough evidence to actually make an arrest, so she just kind of lives with these accusations. Lenora, for some reason, trusts Kit, and she wants to tell her story through Kit. So she has this typewriter. Now, let me also preface this by saying Lenora is completely paralyzed, and she cannot talk. So the only way that they communicate is with a typewriter and one working finger. Just side rant about this book. If I was in this book, like, I would lose it. The stress of waiting for Lenora to finish typing out a sentence is unmatched. Like, girl, it's so crazy because it's like, you know, she's paralyzed, like she's doing her best, but the stress that I would feel waiting for her and trying to help her write her story, and there's like this creep and dread. There are forces that don't want Lenora to finish this book or like finish telling her story. It is so stressful. This story is so stressful. But the reason why I loved it is because Riley Sager, as I'm starting to read a little bit more of his stuff, his settings are really well done, which I really loved. I felt the goosebumps, I felt the chill, I felt the gothic setting. Loved this book. I did not see the plot twist of The Only One Left coming, and it's one of my favorite Riley Sagers, so definitely recommend this book if you want something like gothic and spooky, but will also get you out of that reading slump. This would be a great one. At number 9, we have Nothing Tastes as Good by Luke Dumas. Now, I'm going to call this a thriller. It's technically a horror, but I didn't find it that scary. It read like a thriller. And let me tell you what it's about. So this book follows an obese man who is selected to participate in this clinical trial for a new weight loss drug. And I mean, it is working, if you want to call it that. It does work, but it comes at a very steep cost, and some crazy things are happening to our main character that kind of make you question if, you know, was it worth it? Was it worth it for the social acceptance? I don't know. This book was so good. Now, I will say this does have some body horror in it, so it does get a little gross, but mostly gross like near the end. Like, I really didn't think for the majority of this book that it was like really crazy and gross. This book was pretty tame to me. What I love too about it is that we do get some mixed media in here. We get some of like the clinical documentation too from the company side, and then our main character runs a blog, so we get his blog and stuff too. So I found that super interesting. Love this book. I rated it 5 stars. It is a shorter one too, which is great and would definitely cure that reading slump if you can handle a little bit of horror. Alright guys, and last on our list is Pretty Girls by Karin Slaughter. Now, this is the darkest, most intense book on our list. Let me just preface that. Please, if you're someone who is sensitive, please check your trigger warnings before jumping into this book, as it is the darkest on this list. So, Be careful, you've been warned. I also don't have a physical copy, so picture on the screen somewhere. Pretty Girls by Karin follows these two sisters who are estranged, and they're brought together by the funeral of the one sister's late husband. The husband passes away. Now, following the events of the funeral, the two sisters are starting to find out that her late husband has a lot of connections to their missing sister. This sister went missing years ago. I think it was a decade before the events of our book. So why do they have things in common? That's what you're basically exploring in this book. So I personally thought that this would be a good addition to cure your reading slump, because it is one of those other ones that is very fast paced. And honestly, I think there's something to be said about the craziness and goriness in this book. For me, and I don't know if this is a personal issue or what that says about me as a person, we don't have to dive into that, but this book was like a train wreck. This was like a hot mess in a dumpster fire inside a train wreck. Then that train wreck like exploded. Then there was a plane that came in and also just bam, right into the train. Now everything's on fire. That was this book in a nutshell. It went so crazy. That's why I had to include this book on our list. It'll cure that slump or send you to a mental hospital. I don't know. I love this book. I love Karin Slaughter's writing. I want to read more by her. I just haven't gotten around to it. But Pretty Girls is one of those books that was very thrilling, very fast-paced, very intense, and extremely dark. So, like, please don't take that lightly. To me, at the time that I read it, I had to, like, take a couple of days because I was like, oh, like, this was a lot. But now, after reading some other books that are more closely related, it's not as intense. But maybe if you're a beginner, maybe don't start out with this one. Alright, book besties, and that will wrap up today's video. Those are my 10 book recommendations to cure your reading slump. If you are in a slump, I wish you the best of luck. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a comment. Let me know, did you read any of the books on our list that also maybe got you out of a reading slump? Do you have other really great recommendations for reading slumps? I want to know. I need more, because I am sure I'm going to get into another reading slump very, very soon. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video as well, please leave it a like, and please, please, please subscribe to my channel. It would mean so much to have you stick around. Alright besties, I will see you in the next one. Bye!